Your tax dollars at work. FCC is ready to spend $1.2 billion on rural broadband deployments. The Commission is willing to support broadband deployments to 1 million people across 32 states with a $1.2 billion commitment to the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund. The Federal Communications Commission says it's ready to authorize more than $1.2 billion in funding to expand broadband availability in 32 states via the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund. Quote, in the largest funding round to date, the FCC says in a new news release, 23 broadband providers will bring broadband service to over 1 million locations. Okay, let's pause right here. This says 1 million people. This says 1 million locations. If you do the math here, 1.2 billion divided by 1 million people, I believe is $1,200. That sounds kind of expensive. But if by locations they mean, 1 million small towns, that seems like a stretch as well. Let's see if there's more clarity as we go on here. The Commission also has created the Rural Broadband Accountability Plan, a new effort to monitor and ensure compliance for universal service high-cost programs, including the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund. The Commission announced in July of last year, 2021, that it wanted to, quote, clean up the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund after it discovered that internet service providers had accepted funds to deploy broadband in urban areas or in places where high-speed internet was already available. Those companies were told to either justify their bids or withdraw their funding requests. Government money, taxpayer money wasted. I am shocked. Now the FCC is planning to implement additional oversight for Rural Digital Opportunity Fund recipients. The Commission says it will be increasing audits and verifications of support recipients. The number of audits, it gives details here. That's not important. They're going to audit the recipients of this funds, make sure they're actually providing service to rural areas instead of just taking the money and supporting more densely populated areas, because that's not the point of the fund. Increasing audits and verifications of large and higher risk support recipients, increasing program transparency. More information about the FCC's plan to oversee how this $1.2 billion commitment will be spent is available via Rural Broadband Accountability Plan fact sheet. The Commission published alongside the announcement of its latest commitment to the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund. It's funny. I was actually looking at in a different internet service for where I live, which is fairly rural. We have, as far as I can tell, one option that is not satellite, which it's fine, it works fine, but it's by no means fast. It works fine for everything we need, so I'm not complaining here. First world problem, right? But compared to what we can get at, say, my church, which is 15 minutes closer to town than I am, it's night and day. So perhaps this will help me, perhaps not. The FCC says it's also been contacting bidders in, quote, areas where there was evidence of existing service or questions of waste, denying waivers to bidders that have not made appropriate efforts to secure state approvals or prosecute their applications, and publishing, quote, a list of areas where providers had defaulted, so other companies would be able to bid on those places. Today's announcement means more connectivity is coming to consumers while we this is the FCC, while we continue our commitment to make sure that funding goes to areas that truly need it. FCC Chairwoman Jessica, this lady said in a statement, quote, the new Rural Broadband Accountability Plan will speed up our audit and verification process. You know, when someone from the government says we're going to speed up an audit and verification process, when they're going to speed up anything, or when they say this is an accountability plan, well, I just find that hard to believe. Government known far and wide for being efficient, not wasteful, and good stewards of our money. Yes, these new measures will help ensure that the providers we fund in this program will do the job. That remains to be seen. You're gonna have to tell me what you think of that. Do you believe her? Or is this the government saying, no, really, your money's not being wasted. We're really trying to help you. Please, please. This story here talks about how much we spend on on different apps and services on our phone. We've had a similar story to this, talking about how much time we spend just staring at our phone all day, and I believe it was about 4 or 5 hours a day. Time to log off. We spend over 36 days on social media per year. That is a month. It ended up being close to a third of your waking hours staring at your phone, and on social media, it ends up being over 1 month a year. Having trouble tearing yourself away from TikTok or Instagram? You're not alone, according to data from SortList. How much time do you spend on social media? What about gaming and shopping apps? It can be hard to log off because many of these services are engineered to keep our focus for as long as possible. That's their job. If you think you may have an addiction, you're not alone. SortList analyzed internet usage across different apps and found that the average person spends 2 hours and 25 minutes a day on social media. That's over 3 days a month and 36 days, 18 hours, and 5 minutes each year. You can see the biggest offender is YouTube. Followed, so that's 11 days and 14 hours. People spend roughly almost 10 hours a day. A year on Facebook. 10 days. Almost 10 days a year on Facebook. My goodness. Slightly less than that on WhatsApp. I don't know what VK is. Is that a regional thing? Let me know if you've ever heard of, if you recognize this icon or know what VK is. TikTok, 6.5 days a year. Wow. But I wonder about YouTube and even Facebook. Facebook has live videos, and there's a lot of video on Facebook and YouTube. Of course, if you're a lot of people will listen to something on YouTube. Lots of people just listen to music on YouTube, or a lecture or a sermon or a podcast that's also on YouTube, and just lay their phone somewhere and go about whatever they're doing or driving or whatever. And I wonder if this counts that, because a third of that is potentially people that aren't actually just staring at their phone. They're getting work done. Looking at specific apps, we spend on average 11 days and 14 hours on YouTube each year. Meta's collection of apps all rank among the top 10 most used social apps. Users spend just under 10 days on Facebook and WhatsApp per year, while Instagram keeps people on for just over 5 days. So if you just go on the Meta owns Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. So if you add those all together, you've got 9 3/4. That's 18. That's over 19, about 19.5 days right there. And then if you add Instagram, wow, that's almost 25 days right there. My goodness, that's almost an entire month that we are giving our attention to Meta throughout the year. Just for as for other apps, the three categories that are used the most all fall under gaming. Sports games are used an average of 23 minutes per session, while casual and hyper-casual games are played 21 and 19 minutes per session. This is per time you're actually opening the app. By comparison, we only spend 9 minutes shopping, 6 minutes banking, and 5 minutes making payments per session. The countries that spend the most time online is the Philippines, with 166 days on the internet and 65 days spent on social media. That does not sound right. Surely not. The internet-based countries include Brazil. Internet-obsessed countries include Brazil, Colombia, South Africa, Argentina, Malaysia, Mexico, Indonesia, Thailand, and Taiwan. That's incredible. Well, I'm definitely guilty of lending the electronic device known as a smartphone too much of my attention. Let me know if you were also guilty. I thought that was interesting. Of course, this will be linked below. You can read through it and get a better look at these graphs in your own time. But thanks for watching. Those two quick stories I got for you today. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Appreciate it.